will do.
I'd like to welcome all of you to Sisters of Town Bookstore and Cultural Center. We are proud today to have in our presence a wonderful, wonderful energy, Mrs. Diane Wormsley, who's done a lot of work over the years with our youth. And now she has her own production of what she thinks kids will need for college. And for her to share that information is profound. We want to take our hats off to you, Ms. Wormsley, for taking the time to put such a book together for the kids. So we welcome you, we welcome Mrs. Wormsley, and she will come in her own way to do her presentation on the book, Cash Poor or College. Welcome, Ms. Wormsley.
Thank you.
Ray!
Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Delighted to be here, and I'm delighted to see all of you. Thanks for coming out on this very, very soggy winter evening, and during the holiday season at that. So I'm very appreciative that you're here. I thought what I would do is, since we're a small group, we can be a little bit more engaging. I'd like to start by asking a couple of questions that I'm going to ask you to sit with the answers. You can even write them down. And then once I finish my fuller presentation, we're going to revisit those questions, the answers to those questions. Okay? So, get your thinking hats on, because this is, as you would well imagine, has everything to do with the subject of the book. Cash Poor or College, the essential guide to college admissions for teens and their parents. So here's question number 1. Just get my sheet. How many jobs are going unfilled right now because of the United States labor skills gap? I'll read that one again. You're thinking about a number, a magic number. How many jobs are going unfilled right now because of the United States labor skills gap? You have that number in mind? Okay, question number 2. What percentage of high school students graduate ready for college? What percentage of high school students graduate ready for college? 10%, 5%, 50%, and information just getting to students way too late in the process was serving to undermine their prospects of going to college. And even if they went to college, they were going under-resourced academically and financially. So when I had the opportunity to put pen to paper, I began to develop this book, which I had hoped would address that information gap. So, the goal of the book, what really inspired me, was to consider how best to address building in the information that students needed. And what I came up with is called a college admission pipeline model. And what this does is move freshmen, teens through freshman, through senior year in high school in a pipeline fashion. With seamless information. Helps students focus on information that they need to address, as well as tasks that they need to complete 1 year at a time. So this is a comprehensive publication that covers the entire high school experience. Doesn't sound all that profound. They're in high school anyway, right? Actually, it's a unique model, because what currently is happening in all too many schools is that the discussion of college doesn't begin until the junior year. That's a good case scenario. That's a good case scenario, that the conversation begins in the junior year. Unfortunately, with that model, what it does, allows those first 2 years to essentially go underutilized and to essentially be squandered for being able to allow the student to lay a solid foundation in their digestion of information. Imagine what they can come to know about higher education in those first 2 years. In their academic performance, what they can look to achieve when they know they're shooting for a goal. So those first 2 years, as far as I'm concerned, are absolutely critical, vital to really opening students up to full prospects for college. Now, when students do undertake the discussion around college in the junior year, that's generally called college search. So what we're doing with this publication is we're building in a college preparation period before a student enters college search. And that can be absolutely key. So that's one major way that the book is distinctive. I call that really the ultimate secret sauce in the book, that it takes that approach for students. A couple of other areas that are distinctive about this particular publication is that it provides teens with a sense of values. It's a value-driven publication. Oftentimes we want students to do things, and we'll tell them we want them execute this, do that, and we don't really provide the framework for them to understand how I need to go about getting it done. What is the mindset that I need to bring to it? What are the attitudes? What are the behaviors that I need to bring to the table to ensure that I not only execute, but execute well and understand why the execution can be so very important. So it's a value-driven book. The book is sprinkled. There's 7 winning values that are identified clearly for students. But in addition to that, the book is sprinkled with what I call moments. And they're clearly identified throughout. And the are to just stop the student after a discussion, to have them think more deeply about what is being discussed, so that they can understand what's behind the messaging that's being provided to them. Technological skills, STEM skills, science, technology, mathematics, and engineering are burgeoning areas for jobs, and we can't fill them. So when we hear about the fact that jobs have gone overseas, this is precisely what's feeding that. Okay, so number 2. What percentage of high school students graduate ready for college? What percentage? Yes.
I said 2%.
2% graduate ready for college. Okay. It's not quite that big.
Okay.
Thankfully. Thankfully. Yes.
35%.
35%. Okay, you're in the zone. Okay, your second number hits the nail on the head. So what that looks like, it is 25%. Only 25%. So what we're saying here is 75% of our high school graduates are not ready for college. And how that's being seen is they're not ready in English, they're not ready in math, they're not ready in science, and they're not ready in reading. Wow. That's 1 out of 4. Yes.
This is like all over the United States.
This is a general, this is what we call the mean number. Right. Now we know we have many students who they're falling in that 25%, but 75% are falling below the bar. Falling below the bar. Okay. Stunning statistics. And last one, in 2020, what percentage of jobs will require 2 or 4-year degree. In the year 2020, now let's just see, that's like, right, thank you, say that again. It's only 5 years from now. What percentage of jobs will require a 2 or 4-year degree? And I'm going to tell you that the statistic comes from the United States Department of Labor.
That's 60 to 80%.
Okay, yes, that is exactly the window. That's exactly the window. 75% of jobs. 70, she's a ringer. She's my sister. Okay, no, we haven't discussed this at all. 75% of jobs 5 years from now will require a 2 or 4-year degree. Okay? So I threw these statistics in because I really do want to create a sense of urgency. This is not information that we read on a day-to-day basis. I'm not sure how much of this is being even discussed in schools, and we have some young ladies here that could say if they've heard any of this. But this is critical, and particularly critical for populations of color, underrepresented populations, first-generation college-bound students who need to get in this game. What will happen for the 25%, the 75% who are unprepared? We don't know. But we can be in the game and we can be at the top of our game. So, I would conclude by saying that this takes me back to a discussion that actually happens in the beginning of the book. And that is where I lay the basis for why college matters now and in the 21st century. That's the very first discussion that teens and parents are treated to here, and it's data-driven. There's some charts that are compelling charts that I hope go a long way in making the case. So thank you very much for listening. I'd be happy to take any questions that you have about any stats I may have said, and those stats are the 2020 stat that I gave, the 2 to 4 year. That's a Department of Labor stat. And yes, let me provide that for you for those questions so that you know this is not me, it's not Diane Wormsley machinating these statistics. This is really what's out there. Okay, how many jobs are going unfilled? That 4.8 million number, that's coming from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. What percentage of high school students graduate ready for college? That number, the 25%, is coming from ACT. ACT is the standardized testing agency. Testing service. So, viable. This is real stuff indeed. So, again, I try to walk students through this in an essential way, not browbeat, but put it out there for them to tap into, and hopefully they will pick up on it and take seriously where their future is going to go. Okay, so I know I need to probably sign some books. So, and I know you're probably exhausted now hearing from me. So I just want to thank you all for coming. I certainly do appreciate it and all the thoughtful questions. And I definitely and especially want to thank Jennifer Wilson of this awesome Cultural Center and Bookstore. Thank you for allowing me to host my book signing here.